And we are live. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Mansour. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a Druze living in Israel, former officer in the IDF and a member of the Special Forces. And I've been in touch with many of my relatives and contacts in Syria for the last several days. And I'm going to try to give you right now the best update of what is happening there and what the mainstream media is not telling you. Sorry for coming late. I just got a right when I was about to click go live stream. I got a video from another person in Syria that showed me a very shocking, horrific, very disturbing video of a massacre of an entire family in a taxi and then kidnapping their little kids. I think it was two daughters and an infant right after. And this just reached now, so I took the time to go and blur because we have also images from inside the taxi of the massacre of the parents. So I just took the time to blur it and make it more easy for people to watch. The things that we're seeing in Syria right now are horrific. And without further ado, we're just going to jump right in and start talking about some things because they are Shagadol. It's okay, I'm going to say it also in audio so anyone who can't watch can also hear it. The things that are going there is just horrific. It's just horrific, and mainstream media is not talking about it. Seems to be that the government is more focused right now in trying to do a cover-up for the radical jihadists rather than reporting an actual genocide, ethnic cleansing, October 7, 2.0 that is happening on the Druze community. So let's just jump and start maybe showing you. No, that's the hard video. I don't want to start with that. I want to start with another video and then I'll go back to that one. So this is a Druze woman that was kidnapped, and this video has been playing in my head for some time now. It's very hard for me to just watch it. I mean, look at this. Where is it? Where is it? Look at the lady here that is being kidnapped. She is full of blood on her face. Taken on a motorcycle reminds us a little bit of what we saw on October 7 with Noel Gamani, and that's what really, that's her mother. From what I understand right now, from the sources that I'm getting, or one of her relatives, watching her daughter being taken. Now, for those of you who don't know, the reports are running quite crazy because it's very hard to know what's happening because the government cut the internet on them. They had no communication. But it seems to be that there's quite a lot of women and little daughters that were kidnapped by these Syrians. Let's call them for what they are. It's not only ISIS, it's not only Al-Qaeda, it's not only the government, it's Syrian citizens, jihadists, Muslims, Sunnah, Salafi Sunnah, that went all together into that mountain. And if they didn't go, then there's just a majority of support there, not only in Syria, by the way, but also a lot in Europe. I've seen very disturbing videos today of people in Europe holding scissors and going around and just kind of boasting and threatening Druze that we're going to come and cut your mustaches, going to pro-Israel, pro-Druze demonstrations, alongside with the pro-Palestine demonstrations, and they went and started attacking the Druze and just publicly open, putting pictures, posters of Mohammed al-Shara, which is an ISIS terrorist. So there is people in Europe right now walking with posters of a terrorist, flag of Palestine in one hand, flag of Syria on the other hand, and going with scissors saying that they're going to go and humiliate the Druze also in Europe. It seems like Europe is not safe for Jews and for Druze. And slowly, it's getting worse and worse. I think we're going to reach to a place where maybe the only safe place for Jews and Druze is going to be Israel. Maybe some places in America. Probably not in New York, if Mamdani is going to get elected, or other very woke liberal places. But that is very disturbing, and this image has been going through my head. Also, before we jump into the horrific video that I wanted to talk about, I was told not to share it. I was told that there's a lot of pressure to try to hush it, but you know what? I'm sorry, guys. We can't hide the truth. We can't hide what is happening, and maybe I'll get a lot of heat for that. But there seems to have been a lot of rapes that happened on the Druze community. I've heard reports today that there was an 81-year-old Druze religious woman who was raped. Entire families were raped by Muslim jihadists, by government soldiers and policemen in Syria, in front of their friends, in front of their families, in front of their fathers and their sons, and then were executed. And then whoever was not executed during or after the rape was kidnapped as a sex slave. And there's talks about sex trafficking. Some of them have reached to the outmost further parts of Syria, very close to different borders. And there's talks about selling Druze women and making them sex slaves. For those of you who don't know, the Druze community is a very small minority. There's probably 1 million of us all around the world. I'm one of them. There's about 600,000 to 700,000 Druze in Syria, almost 300,000 Druze in Lebanon, and about 150,000 Druze in Israel, and then just sporadically around the world. So we're talking a very small minority that is very close and relatively very conservative. And here comes the problem, and here comes the thing that people don't want to talk about, and I am just gonna say it out here because it's very important to speak it out loud. There have been talks from Israel of sending humanitarian aid to Syria, and part of the humanitarian that was suggested was to send the morning after pill, if people heard that term before. All kind of rape kits, survivor kits, and means to help maybe women that don't want to stay pregnant after they've seen a man walk into the room, kill their husband, kill their father, kill their mother, kill their sister, rape them, murder their family, and now they might give birth to the child of that monster. Now, many in the Druze community, because it's a very religious community, a very close community, are feeling very uncomfortable talking about these things. But I'm sorry, guys, we need to expose radical Islam. We need to expose the Syrian regime. We need to expose them for the crime, for the things that they're forcing the Druze people to go through right now. Druze women are afraid to go and report it. From what I heard, that 81-year-old lady, she was very religious. Imagine that she need to go and report right now that she was raped. And she was trying to do that in the most graceful way while keeping her dignity. Broken, humiliated, sitting on the table and telling the doctor that they did things to me. And it was very hard for her to speak. They hurt me. Putting her eyes down as she's talking, thinking about her family who just got murdered in front of her eyes. And then the doctor went and did the test, and it was found undoubtedly that she was raped. That's just one story of many. Now I want to show you some of the things, and we're going to talk about them as we go through. But this, meanwhile, this is a very interesting video, and I took the liberty to record it and check the translation. Someone else did this, so thank you so much. Here is a Syrian army, Syrian forces holding an ISIS flag, and look what happened later on when the reporter, I think it's a French reporter, asked him some very challenging questions.
The flag of the state.
Well, but what does it mean for you?
شو بيعني لك؟ علم دولتنا.
He says this is the flag of our nation.
What does it mean for you?
A Syrian army soldier, part of the government. When you are a soldier in an army of a nation, we represent that nation. When I was an officer in the IDF, I represented Israel. And I made sure very well that every one of my soldiers know that we had a very high responsibility to maintain the highest level of professionalism, of human rights, of dignity, because we are representing Israel. Now, when you have a soldier from Syria, from the army, saying this is the flag of our country, not the flag of Syria, by the way, the flag of ISIS, not the flag of the Christians or the Druze or anyone, the flag of ISIS. And then comes another guy and tells him to take it and fold it off, hides it away. Meanwhile, America, current government, in America seems to be so occupied trying to cover up for that, trying to mainstream media helping them as well, trying to tell you that Syria is becoming moderate and Jolani is the good guy and he's just trying to solve the issues in Syria. Since when did America become a PR agent for terrorists? Why are we seeing so many demonstrations when it's anything about Israel, but literally zero demonstrations about what's happening to the Druze? Why is that happening? Where is the people? It's a very good question to ask ourselves. And I tell you what, to some of you, this might be a surprise what I'm showing you right now. You might have never heard about the massacre that happened to the Druze because all that mainstream media is talking about is how Israel attacked in Syria, or how Hamas, well, they're not saying it that way, how the people in Gaza are starving, but not mentioning that Hamas is just stealing their food. More food went into Gaza than into Sueda. Sueda was under siege by ISIS, Al-Qaeda, the government, which hired ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and part of their members, the government is ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and dozens of Syrians and Bedouin tribes siege Sueda. People starved to death in Sueda, died out of thirst. Hospitals were slaughtered. Women were kidnapped after were raped. Little girls, horrific things. And it's very hard for me to say, and I measured my words very carefully, because I would never take from the horror that we've seen on October 7. I would never undermine that. But when October 7 happened to Israel, the IDF was there to stop it, to contain it. When October 7 happened in Syria, the Syrian IDF, their government, was the one who did it. There was no one to stop it. And the horror that we're seeing, the images that are coming out are just beyond what we even seen on October 7. We've seen a scale there, horrific scale. That was the biggest live stream massacre the world have ever known until what happened in Sueda right now. October 7 happened for about a day to a day and a half. In the first 16 hours, I would say it was havoc. And then the civilian special forces and the government, the IDF and the police came and contained it. Things started to settle a little bit. In Syria, it went on for 12 days, non-stop. Non-stop. They were showing themselves walking in the streets with beheaded heads of women and men and children, glee in their eyes. Just the same thing that we've seen with October 7, rejoicing, shouting Allahu Akbar, kidnapping women right, left, and center, back and forth, just taking them, looting, burning churches, burning humans alive, Druze and Christians alike, and no one spoke about it. The streets are empty. Why is this happening? I've never thought that I would see the Democrats and the Republicans in America agree so strongly about one cause, and that cause is to try to make jihadists look good. We've seen that with the Democrats over and over again. They used to always try to make jihadists look good and stand against Israel and America. But for some reason, we're seeing right now this administration so fixated in hiding the massacres that is happening against the Druze in order not to make the Muslims look bad. What is happening? What is going on? Can someone please explain? This is just really weird. Let's keep going. So just like I said, no protest, no human rights, mass graves. Mass graves right now. The Druze don't even have time to mourn, and it's all thanks to this man. Don't let anyone fool you. He was ISIS. He is still ISIS. Sheikhs are going and they're just dumping bodies. Here's a very interesting report. I think I accidentally took the audio down, but look what he's saying here. He's saying, if they're saying that the government didn't do that, then how come more than 27 tanks came into Sueda? Tanks operated by the government, not ISIS and Al-Qaeda and different kind of Bedouin factions that barely know how to read and write. Tanks, artillery. How come, as we're speaking, there's about, last I've heard, well, I'm not going to give you the exact number because that might be still confidential, but there seems to be quite a lot of Syrian soldiers held captive in Sueda after the Druze defenders managed to subdue them and take them alive. And now the government is negotiating, give us back our soldiers. And the Druze are saying, no, we won't give you back our soldiers, give us back our women and children that you kidnapped. I said, no, you're not going to get them. Give us back our soldiers or we keep coming and slaughtering you. So if the government was not involved, how come there's tanks in the Druze village that they came to massacre and siege? How come there's soldiers captured there by the forces who are fighting? They didn't come to defend them. They came to slaughter them. They videoed themselves doing that. Mainstream media is hiding. Never did I think that I will see the left and the right in America agree on one thing, and that is covering up for radical jihadists. This is a message I just got just before I started this video as well. Thank you, Mansour, for raising our voice. The situation here is disaster. I can't publicly support your post because I might get killed. If you would have known how many messages like that I get. I'm sorry I can't support because I might get killed. Not only by Druze, by the way. Not only by Christians, which is obvious in Syria. They will get killed. By Muslims. By ex-Muslims. Moderate Muslims, not Salafis. Telling me I can't. This government is run by ISIS. Why is the West hiding? And look what he's saying here. I asked them, thank you, brother. I keep doing all that I can to help you guys. Are you Druze? Because I was wondering. And he says, yes, I am a student at Damascus University. Now I left. I can't read it right now properly here. Let me put it this way. Now I left the university because we are in big danger and 2 of my friends have been detained from their dorm rooms because simply they are Druze. Detained basically saying they got kidnapped. Now to remind you, they did call a fatwa, the students in Syria, called the jihad, on the Druze, calling to kill the Druze, to slaughter them, to kidnap them. And they started also posting online where their rooms are. So people can go and kill them. So colleagues of yours, Muslim colleagues of yours, will start reporting where you're hiding or just where you're living so people can simply come and kill you. Where did we see that? That reminds me of something. I think it was Germany. Nazi Germany. That's right. Nazi Germany. Now it came in Belgium. Nazi Germany. The Nazis did the same thing to their neighbors. He's a Jew. Come and take him. Kill him. Why is no one talking about it? And why is Islam keep choosing to be borderline Nazi again and again and again? And no one is talking. Now, I'm not saying all of Islam, but I'm saying quite a big chunk of the Muslim world. And people are just ignoring that. Let's continue. For anyone who wants to kind of get an idea what's happening, there is this website that was created where it shows you different numbers and statistics for what we can gather right now. I know some of the people who are involved in making this, and they're doing their best to give you the best report. So let's just go back a second. And as you can see here, killed civilians so far we know is 1,100. Displaced, 93,000. Kidnapped, 80. The numbers went way higher since executed. 196 went way higher since I've checked. Financial damage, more than $100 million. Hospitals destroyed. I'm talking slaughtered. 5 of them. By the way, financial damage, when we talk about $100 million worth of damage, you need to understand that the salary of an average Sueda man, women, was less than $15 a day. A month, not a day, a month. And that was not enough to live, so they had to work in 3-4 jobs just to provide food for their families. $15, $30. If he was doing really good. 100, that's probably the richest man in the village right now. Can you imagine that reality all under the, I was about to say the Assad regime. Sorry, I forgot that this dictator was replaced by a terrorist. Just imagine that reality. Trauma consultancy, 3,500, way more probably. Villages were burned. 20 villages were burned. That's why I'm saying the numbers of the horrors are still, we still don't know them enough. Because there's no one to go and report it, because the Druze are not allowed to leave their mountains. They're still killing them as we're speaking, by the way. So the numbers are way, way higher. Now, before we continue with this, and that's a great website. That's a great place to go and see what's happening. There's also images that you can see. They're unfiltered images, pictures, and they made a memorial, so trying to show all the pictures of the people who got murdered. They still didn't finish building the website, and you'll see it later on when I show. When you see a picture, you still don't have the name of that person even, and anyone who can go and help in that website. And I wouldn't imagine how difficult that might be to go and identify some of these people and to give them names. The silent graves of a silent massacre that is happening in the Middle East, and the world is just silent. They used to say no Jews, no news, but now I'm starting to see that it's way more big and way more sinister than that. It's not only no Jews, no news. It's becoming, if it makes the Muslims look bad, no news. If it makes the Jews or the Christians look bad, all news. And now, if it makes the Druze look bad, all news. So basically, anything that will make the Muslims look bad, don't talk about it. Anything that will make them look good or victims, talk as much as you can about it. Syria is trying right now, as we're speaking, and I've seen that echoed in some Western medias as well, to show that the Druze were the ones who started the attack, and the Druze were the ones who were trying to ethnically cleanse the Bedouins. I'm serious. I've seen that report several times in several sources, trying to make it look like it's the second Nakba of Syria. Just like they invented, the tragedy of the Nakba with Palestine, and made it sound like Israel was the bad guys there, and all the Palestinians were innocent. Forgot to mention that they came to kill and slaughter the Jews. The Jews won, they ran away, the Jews chased them away, but many of them actually ran away before that, and then the Jews said, you're not coming back here, you tried to kill us. Suddenly they're all victims. In Syria, it's even more. They came while they're killing the Druze. They're painting that image. But just shows you how well they control the media. They keep saying that the Jews control the media. I'm starting to really doubt that. Because if they are, they're doing a terrible job. Terrible job. If the Jews are controlling the media, then how are they just so bad at portraying the truth about Israel? I'm an Israeli. I come from Israel. I'm an Arab Israeli. I can tell you, Israel is the best country for Arabs in the Middle East. That is a fact on the ground. I'm speaking this as an authority. Me and my family. As for me and my house, we're telling you this right now. Nothing is spoken about it. So if the Jews are controlling the media, then they're doing a hell of a bad job at that. It looks like the Muslims are controlling the media. Now, the next video, I'm going to warn you right now, it's a very difficult video. And just like I said in the beginning of this episode, I just got it right now, just before I clicked, go live. And I took the time to edit it. That's why I came a bit late. So apologies if I made you wait in the waiting room for a few minutes. Just wanted to censor some of the images that are just horrific. But let's just see it and then we can talk about it. And like I said, viewer discretion is advised. It's not an easy video to watch. This is taken from a security camera in one of the shops. That's a taxi that was trying to flee to safety there with a family inside. Got ambushed by people of the government and ISIS jihadists. These are little girls inside. The ones that you see moving right now, trying to get out of the window, that is an elderly sheikh that runs away with a toddler. Apparently he got killed later on. And these are two girls who got kidnapped by the jihadists after they murdered their families. The next part is the hard part. And that's coming in and confirming that the entire family is murdered. Probably chanting Allahu Akbar, rejoicing, slaughtering entire family. I've blurred the next image you're going to see because it's a very hard one. But that's pictures that were taken from inside the taxi. Tanks, by the way. These are not Druze tanks. So that's the driver of the taxi and the father, I believe, in the front, all massacred and killed. These are the mothers, or older sister and a mom, I'm not so sure. Inside that taxi, massacred and killed. I'll translate you the message that was sent to me so you can understand basically what's happening. New documentation of violence by army forces in Sueda, July 16, 2025. Through the surveillance camera from a shop near El Sueda church. So that's near a church. That might easily be a Christian family as well. we obtained footage documenting serious violation committed by Syrian army forces on the 16th of July in the areas of Kankar Junction next to El Shuhada Church in Sueda. So you see, this happened several days back, but we're only now starting to see the level of damage, of horrors that are happening. I'm telling you right now, we're going to see more and more. Mainstream media is silent. What the video shows, direct gunfire at a rental car leading to the death of 4 civilians, 2 men and 2 women, kidnapping of 3 children, one of them an infant. That's, I believe, from what I saw in the video, I'm just, watching it basically the second time. I watched it the first time when I got it, and I uploaded it, edited it, so, to hide all the gore and the blood, and I watched it the second time. So I think that Sheikh was actually running, because it seemed the way he was running, it looks like he was running with a baby in his hand. Kidnapping 3 children, one of them is an infant. Invasion of the city with tanks and armored vehicles through resident neighborhoods. Attempted escape by an elderly man who was later killed. This footage provides a new visual evidence of the scale of the violation committed by the reviews of the official. And I think let's go to the next one. This will provide the new visual evidence. I'm trying to see, how do I show you? Of the scale of the violation committed, and refutes the official narrative spread by the regime that its media outlets. Writer Raid El-Shar posted the video on Facebook. The family is from Rafi's family, from the Rafi family. So, as you can see, and I'm going to go back to the beginning here. Let's watch this again. A rental car is going, they start shooting at it. You see the infants, the babies, the little girls. You just saw their family slaughtered, trying to escape. We see the sheikh running. Looks like he's holding something. Apparently he was killed later on. I don't believe, of course, there's tanks coming from there. I'm pretty sure one of these guys here shot him. And then they come and they take the children. Oh no, the infant is here. So what happened here is one of many attempts that we've seen, not attempts, one of many cases where the Syrian army with the Syrian citizens, Muslims, Sunni, Salafis, that went in and slaughtered Druze and Christians and kidnapped their children. So you understand, there's a lot of kids right now who just saw their parents been slaughtered. And at the same time, the army just drives in freely, not doing anything to stop. If I can just help express the level of the massacre that is going on the Druze community in Syria, and the deafening silence of the West, I've been reporting this for since it started. I honestly lost track of days since I've been doing it. Staying awake until 2, 3, 4 in the morning, just reporting, to wake up in the morning to make breakfast for my kid and keep him away so he doesn't know. My kid doesn't know about all of this. I don't want him to know. He's still in kindergarten. But working day and night. I went to 10 live shows. Some of them are the biggest in the world, from Charlie Kirk to TBN, CBN, and many other shows. I can't even remember the names of many of the shows that I went. Big shows, back to back, in one day, continuing. Not only me, by the way, many other of my Druze friends are doing the same thing. Men and women, brave men and women, are just trying to speak, shouting, world, they're killing our people. There's 1 million Druze around the world. They're massacring us. They're erasing our people. And it's all sponsored by the government that the US and Europe are right now supporting and sponsoring. What is going on? And I tell you what, even preventing from Israel, because the only one that is trying to save the Druze, the only one, not a single, is Israel. And then Israel get attacked for that. Is it like official that we're living in a very dark world? Is it official that we're trying to convince ourselves all the time it can't be, the world is a good place? But maybe we're fooling ourselves. Maybe there's not so many good people around the world. and we became a small minority that is just living in a very, very dark, evil world. And all they care about is to hide the crimes of the wicked and to oppress the good. Because it sure looks like it. Go explain it to me other way. I know that the people are not. I know that the people watching this video most likely are not. I doubt that there's jihadists watching these videos. Sometimes they come in the comments here and then I tell them go and they'll never come back. But in general, it's just crazy. Yes, Mansoor, the world is crazy and dark very often, and it's very clear at this time. You know when was the last time that I remember the world being so dark? Is when I was watching documentaries about Nazi Germany and seeing all the atrocities that were happening in World War I and World War II, medieval days. So if you look statistically at planet Earth, yeah, you can. It's safe to say that, I don't know, maybe it's safe to say that the majority of the time that humans walk this Earth, most of planet Earth, of humans who lived here, lived under a very dark times, where evil men and women ruled over many people and just slaughtered and killed and did what they want. And there was just maybe small windows where there was kindness and goodness. But the majority of the time, it was literally just a very dark. And then after World War II, we started somehow trying to move the world to a better place. Again, not the majority of the world, by the way, mostly the West, Europe and America, mostly, and a small kind of islands here and there, who started to look into human rights and to look into making the world a good place. But then they managed to do that because they were strong and they defeated evil. The Christian empire managed to defeat the Muslim empire. Rest assured, the Muslim empire was a very evil one. The biggest number of slaves under the world and oppressions happened in that, still happening, by the way, under Islam. Let's call it as it is. So thank God the Christians managed to win, and then they became very secular, and we're living in that world today, and the Jews managed to go back and survive the Holocaust and build their country. But that's probably the smallest pockets of goodness and kindness on planet Earth. USA, some places in South and Central America, some place, not all. Here and there now, some place in Asia, again, most not. And Europe. And then the rest of the world is really like dealing with cow poop, medieval wickedness. But then we're seeing what's happening now, and it's just insane. Just insane. Like, no one is reporting. Let's continue, because I can talk about this all day. No, not this video. I don't want to watch this video again. So this website, as I was talking, terrorist raping, preparing and advancing towards Sueda, he's talking about all the events that happened there. I'm not going to read it for you, but it shows you also raw footage after the destruction and the massacre began. Destruction of civilian homes and property. It covers everything. Go to that website and watch it. Here we see also humanity in the face of violence, the Druze and their captives, explaining about what happened, the testimonies, horrific stories of survivors. It just went up. It just went up, I think, today. Remembering the victims' faces. So I just went and scrolled, and I'm going to leave it here as I'm talking, because I think, if I can give a little bit of honor to some of these innocent people that died, then, that's the least that I can do in my channel. But when you click on it, you'll see suddenly all the images. And as you go, if you see sometimes an image just popping in colors, that's just because when I was scrolling down, when you put your scroller on an image, it will show it live, not live with color. And then if you click on it, you can also see the details. Like I said, most of them don't have the details yet. And women. That was a pianist that got killed and murdered, and they drove the street parading with her piano, 14 years old. Religious sheikhs, very brave sheikhs that, most of the fighting, by the way, is done by, men, and many of them are sheikhs, but there's also women fighting trying to defend their homes, saying we're not gonna succumb to Sharia. We're not gonna fall under Sharia like the rest of Syria have fallen yet. Remind you, the Druze are the only ones in Syria right now, aside from the Kurds, which basically almost have their own country in Syria. They're very strong. But the Druze are the only ones that still did not succumb full to Sharia law. Christians and majority of Syria have done it. They're under Sharia law. They're living a horrific way of life. Class C, B, Z citizens. Yazidis, they're being kidnapped and sold by the Syrians. Let's call it as it is. By the people in Syria, not just random factions anymore. By the Syrians. Just call it as it is. Are being kidnapped and sold as sex slaves. The Druze are the only one that said we're not gonna let you enforce Sharia law on us, on our women, on our children, and also on our allies that are living under us, which are with us, which are the Christians. There's many Christians that are living in the mountain as well, living in a much better reality than any Muslim place, and that's why they want to come and exterminate them, because they're Druze. And you can go and see many images of elderly women, mothers, little daughter that was killed. Very hard to see this. And the list keeps going. Keeps going. I really hope that no one who's watching this right now would recognize, in one way, but in another way, I know there's a lot of people that are still see that when you try to go in, most of them don't have the name yet. I'm sure they're still working on it, trying to create some kind of a memorial, a silent memorial for a real genocide attempt that is happening in the Middle East. Not a fake one like in Palestine. But Western media is not talking about it. Like, can it be more obvious how biased is Western media? It can't be more obvious than that. Like a gotcha moment. I caught you stealing. I caught you stealing with witnesses and the cameras. That's what happened to Western media. They got caught reporting what happened in Gaza as a genocide when it's not. They're still holding hostages and still swearing to destroy Israel. So Israel is fighting to bring back their hostages and literally to dismantle Hamas so it never happened again. So they call that a genocide, while the numbers and population in Gaza keep growing, by the way. But when there's a real genocide happening right now, they're not saying anything about it. So tell me if you don't have a more I gotcha moment to Western media and Western governments. Because you know who can hold media accountable? Let me give you a hint. Governments. Media operates under the law. When you go there, it's still not working. I tried to click infants, women, elderly, females, male. Right now, only when you click all, it will show you everything. But I'm pretty sure that soon enough, the website is going to be even more, only when you click all, it's going to be more operational. Here is an image of one of the sheikhs. Looks like a very proud man that is standing there and just watching these perverts coming and cutting his mustache. Like I said, we're seeing right now in Europe. That's, by the way, an image of all the Bedouin tribes that came. Not all, that's one of the waves that came driving from hours away. Some people drove 7 hours away just because there was a fatwa that basically was declared by the government, you can say, that said it's allowed to steal Druze women and daughters as sex slaves once you kill their man. Can you tell me a better example of a wicked nation? A wicked nation. Syria have become a wicked nation where the government officials and religious leaders will go and say, we declare jihad on a minority, let's go kill them. And then to get more people to rally for that cause, they'll go and call for a fatwa, which is a verdict, a permission, an executive order, religious executive order, that if you go and kill Druze man, you can take his wife and his daughter as sex slaves. And then more jihadists start coming from all around, including, by the way, from other countries. Crazy. How is it that in the Middle East, it's only Muslims doing the murder and the killing? Muslims are killing the Jews, Muslims are killing the Christians, Muslims are killing the Yazidis, killing the Kurds, killing the Druze, Muslims are killing the Muslims. But the West is so occupied trying to defend Muslims. I'm not saying all Muslims, but I'm saying quite a lot of them. Let them defend themselves. Let them be held accountable for their crimes. Or at least don't try to cover, or at least don't try to stop Israel from going and stepping in and trying to stop a massacre. How crazy that is. Crazy. Read stories about the Holocaust and everybody likes to think that they would have probably hid Anna Frank. If I was living there, I would definitely hide her. If I was living there, I would definitely fight the Nazis. Everybody says that to himself. Everybody watches Spider-Man and they relate to Spider-Man. They don't relate to the bad guys, unless you're some kind of a psychopath lunatic. And then it's happening in the only country that is trying to stop this genocide Holocaust attempt that is happening in Syria. By the way, this Assad buried hundreds of thousands of people. Who do you think buried them? Assad did not go with a shovel and dug graves in one town for 100,000 people, because there was many other mass graves. Who do you think did that? They didn't bring Chinese to do that. They didn't bring workers from Thailand to come and do that, from the Philippines. They did it themselves. The Syrians did it. So, and by the way, many of them are in Europe right now. Many of them are in your cities right now. You see them walking with the flags, with the scissors going around. So you definitely, some of the people that you're seeing walking, beheading people and just happy and with, rejoicing. Many of the people that would have probably done that are right now in Europe, walking in your streets next to your kindergartens with your children. Spoiler alert, I've heard them. Many times when I went to buy shawarma or doner, I hear, and you don't want to know the things that I hear. Oof. But I know if I will try to tell to a European, they'll shame me for it. They'll call me an Islamophobe if I try to warn them. That's how insane did this reality became. It's like, I don't know if this video is even reaching anyone. I know there's people watching it right now and I'm seeing the comments, but like more further. The people who are here probably subscribed to my channel already or been following me on Instagram or X and care about the Druze and care about the Jews and care about the Christians. But outside of the circle right now, I don't know how many are actually on. Am I doing this video just for myself? Maybe some kind of a time capsule. One day when the world will go really dark, then I would know that I've done all I can to try to expose wickedness. And people who know me will say, yeah, he did it. There's videos of that. He did it. So maybe that's exactly what's happening. Maybe in history, after there will be something crazy will happen in the world, they'll teach again. It's like a cycle. Teach again so people can feel good about themselves until the next time humanity will try to do what they're doing right now. They did it with the Nazis. Now they're doing it with, under the flag of Islam. Let's continue. This is a report from one of the only reporters that were able to go there, and a very interesting report. Let's watch it and hear what you have to say. And like I said, I don't want to make this episode too long, so we're going to try to finish shortly after that.
We have crossed into a Druze area. We've seen Druze flags and gone through Druze checkpoints. They have agreed to see us. They're still picking up bodies from the garden of the main hospital in Sueda. Look how many dead bodies there are. The smell of death is overpowering, and there's more evidence of battles inside. Grenades were detonated here by fighters who took up positions inside the hospital, killing patients, as well as at least 2 doctors. We're going to see a pregnant woman who was shot whilst she was pregnant. Her fetus died.
Her funeral, and her baby has gone.
Salam alaikum. A 21-year-old, 9 months pregnant with her first baby when shot.
Shot here, from here to here.
It went through both legs?
Both legs. Both legs.
The medics battled to save Hajja's life, but weren't able to save her babies, a victim of this brutal outbreak of violence before even being born. The cycle of revenge attacks has led this Druze-dominated city to bunker down behind barricades after some government troops sent in as peacekeepers were then accused of joining the Arab Bedouin tribes in attacking the Druze minority. The president has promised an inquiry, but he'll need more than that to build trust.
So that was the first video. By the way, I just saw Mika Davis. Is Mika Davis here? I know this guy. I know this guy from Israel. I know him and his family. Oh, here he is. Here he is. Thank you, Mika. By the way, Mika is probably one of the reasons that I got interviewed in some of the Christian channels, because he really helped to push for my voice to go and, you know, be spoken. I'll say it again here. First of all, thank you, brother. I really appreciate what you did for me, Mika. And I will say it right now here and say it again. I am willing to go on every show. I'm willing to debate everyone. I'm willing to talk to anyone that need to hear or dare to come and claim that this is not a genocide. If you know ways to help me reach any channel, I'm doing Zoom calls with local communities, back to back. 20 people, 30 people. I'm not just looking to go on the big channel, not looking to increase my likes and my followers. I'm literally, along with many others, from the Druze community, from the Jewish community, some from the Christians, trying to push for the people to stop the genocide that is happening against the Druze, against the Alawites, against the Yazidis, against the Christians in Syria, like real, and also wake up the Trump administration. Guys, stop pretending that Jolani is a good guy. So if anyone knows, or anyone knows ways for me to reach all the way to the big ones, that would be very good. So at least someone can hear. If I can reach Joe Rogan, if I can reach, what's his name? This guy that have just like an Oprah Winfrey show right now with a lot of weirdos shouting at each other. Piers Morgan. If I can reach Piers Morgan, if I can reach... Anyway, I'm really bad at these things. I honestly have a life. I didn't spend most of my time watching a lot of these nonsense that is going around there. But if anyone knows these big shows, help me go there. And I'll be more than happy to go and talk about anything that I can talk to help bring the Druze attention. Does Druze religion have any end times prophecy? Yes, they do. They have an end times prophecy, but I don't think it's fulfilling right now, as they said. But it's quite similar to Christian and the Jews end times prophecy. It's quite, you know, going line in line with them. Yeah, Piers Morgan is a borderline Jerry Springer or Oprah Winfrey or whatever. You know, these like reality shows of people just shouting at each other. Joe Rogan is a hopeless case. I don't know. I've seen very good videos of him, and I've seen very disturbing ones. You know, I think a lot of people are also just being misled. Let's continue watching here, because that's another video from Sky News, and it's a very important one.
Made a beeline straight for the main hospital, and that is quite a shocking sight. As soon as we walked in, we could see bodies that were still being picked up by doctors, young doctors who were obviously very, very stressed and very, very tired. They carried the few bodies round the corner, literally in the front of the hospital, and we saw the whole of the forecourt covered in body bags. They said that there were more than 90 just in that area, that they hadn't been able to bury them because of the clashes and the fighting and the unpredictability of the situation at the moment. It was clear very early on that they were entirely isolated, probably because the internet has been cut. There is little electricity. We walked into the hospital, which is packed full of casualties. It's in a dreadful state, really, really dirty. They have very little equipment, very little medicines. They have scarce water. Whilst we were there, water was being brought in on a tank to try to clean some of the floors, but they're going around trying to scavenge water from anywhere they can. Very few of them even were aware of a ceasefire. There was a lot of fear around about being attacked, and fear for us going out and also being attacked. They feel very much under siege.
So we'll go back to this image. That's a very interesting one. So just like you said, many of them didn't even know that there was a ceasefire. They don't have internet. They're just getting the internet now and seeing the damage, the level of destruction, and also these ceasefires. I've said it many times, and I feel like I'm just parroting it, but I'll say it again. Syria is a radical Muslim country, extremely radical, extremely. There's Salafis, which is, you know, they take everything to the extreme in that religion, and there's a lot of place to go extreme in that religion. Some places don't. Some places are trying to be safe, like, Qatar, sorry, like Dubai and some place in the Emirate, and they're working really hard to keep it safe. But they're still under Sharia, by the way, just to let you know, not a democracy. And in Syria, under that evil regime, they've cut the internet over the entire population there, massacred and slaughtered them, and now they're waking up to actually see the levels of the damage, and they can't even fathom it. And every time when they say, in radical Islam, when they say ceasefire, they're stalling. They never mean ceasefire. Never. Honestly, and trust me when I say I come from the Middle East, I grew up in the Middle East, I was in the special forces, I was behind enemy line, I was in the defense and on the offense. I know this religion very well. I know it very well. I don't remember a case, one, that they actually said ceasefire, and what they meant instead was, let's stop for a second because we're losing and let us come and kill you, or to stall the West and the world from coming and sending reinforcements so they can keep killing. And that's what they did in Syria. How is it that I understand that and America doesn't understand that? That beats me. I mean, you do have CIA and you do have very, very capable and smart people in the army in the US. I believe also in the government. The only reason I can think about is why is probably it's called $100 billion. It's amazing what $100 billion can do, right? When a very rich country, Arab country, comes and starts paying the West, and we start seeing suddenly the right becoming woke. Never thought that I hear that the right wing is becoming woke. But it's what we're seeing right now. Dr. Phil is a great person for that, I agree. Now let me go to a little bit better news. During this atrocities, this massacres, my mom called me several times, and I stayed with her on the phone, and she cried, and she went to the streets, and she grabbed the megaphone by herself. She's an elderly lady. She have diabetes. She's walking with a stick. She have health issues, my mom, and she walked all the way in the heat of the summer in Eilat. That's a very hot city. Stood in the street with a megaphone and started shouting. She doesn't have a voice anymore. Try to wake up the world. And then when she finished that, she grabbed herself together and she went to a nearby IDF military base. She basically called me and told me, call one of your friends. And I called one of my former friends from the army and I told him, listen, you got to do it. Otherwise, my mom is just going to go there by herself. And he told her, okay, we'll arrange for it. And she went to that base and she started making them food to thank the IDF, to thank Israel for standing with the Druze, being the only one in the world
Going out and
standing
also
with the
being
Druze.
attacked. They feel very much under siege.
Here. So she went and she made them traditional Druze food, Arabic food. And this is, I think, that probably vine leaves from all the what's getting spilled out of there. I think that's grapevine leaves. Yep, that's it. That was, by the way, one day my mom asked me, what kind of a cake do you want for your birthday? And I asked this. I said, I want this as a cake. I don't like these fluffy cakes. So she made me a cake and she put a candle of it, these rolled vine leaves. And then she went and she made maklube, which is a dish called upside down. It's called in Arabic, maklube. And the whole thing, you flip it upside down and then people can eat it in some cultures. I know in Jordan, especially in the area of the army and the special forces, they eat it with their hands only until they meet in the middle. She made the manaqish, which is Druze, very famous Druze dish. Look at this picture. Look what beautiful picture that is. A Jewish soldier, obviously secular. She's showing her shoulders. And a religious Druze woman standing in the kitchen together, cooking together. Where? In an IDF base. And no one kidnapped my mom by the IDF to go and make them food. She went to the evil IDF that people likes to talk about. They want to kill Arabs. She's an Arab woman. She drove to the IDF to make them food and came out of there very alive, very happy with all the people that are happy. Jews, Christians, Bedouins. There were Bedouin trackers there. My brother told me he had his kid there, so they were playing football with my niece. Muslim Bedouin tracker in the IDF. Wow! Go debunk that, Harvard students. Go to try to argue with what a beautiful nation Israel is. Try. Like, that's what I'm saying. I have the full supreme leader authority to come and tell you this because I lived it. I lived it. If I can't shout from the top of my head, from the rooftops, wake up world, they're lying to you. Israel is the only place that actually have hope for peace in the Middle East, not the other way around. Insane. So my mom went to the base. She made them labane to the soldiers. That's the vine leaf. That's my favorite birthday cake. It's like they're rolled with meat. That's a picture. Look at that. Oh, insane, insane. A Druze woman, religious, standing in a room full of IDF soldiers. My brother there, my nieces. How can that be? Well, I tell you how can it be. Because Israel has been offering their hand for peace for so long to any Arab that want to have peace with them. And the ones that took the hand in peace have a great life. Great life. Actually, the best life any Arab can have in the Middle East. Who is having a hard life? Terrorists. Borderline Muslim Nazis. Insane, right? Like, show that to your friends. Show that to your friends when they try to tell you lies. Here's I just compiled a few pictures here. How come America can't know the difference between ISIS and the Druze? America knows. People who did that, grabbed Druze sheikhs and started shaving their beards. People who murdered these ladies, may they rest in peace. 80 Druze women are missing in Syria after Islamist terrorist attack on Sueda. Like I said, it seems like the numbers went quite higher, way higher. Druze people are being slaughtered as we're speaking, and no one is talking about it. If anyone, that's an AI image, but if anyone's seen the real video of this, I've seen it. I can't share it here. It's too gory. He's sitting on the stairs, hands up. Government, Al-Shara, Jawlani soldiers, along with Al-Qaeda and ISIS, have patches all over, standing there and pointing a gun at him and asking him, what are you? And he's telling, I am Syrian. What are you? I am Syrian. No. What religion are you? And he keeps telling, I am Syrian. No, which religion are you? And then he looks them up and he says, I am Druze. Bomb. All of them. Open fire at him. Open fire. That someone's father, someone's husband, someone's grandfather. Murdered simply for being Druze. That is one case out of many. That's not a one-off in Syria. And you see the mainstream Syrian media and the people in the street are supporting that. And you see the pro-Palestine supporters and the Syrian migrants. Many of them are supporting that. Ethnically cleansing that is really happening. No one is speaking about it. If you haven't watched that video, it's a hard video to watch. I'm sure you can go and find it on the internet. They're going and they're humiliating, and the world is just silent. Women are being raped. Where are all the women activists? Where are all the women activists who are speaking about it? Nothing, silent. But you know what the world is talking about? And I've seen this video today, a ridiculous video. It's saying that Israel is trying since the beginning to conquer Syria and destroy Syria. Should I remind you that the only reason that they had a chance to get rid of Assad was thanks to Israel? There were actually Muslims waving Israeli flag when that happened. Thank you, Israel, for taking this, dictator down, helping us take him down. And for those who don't understand, Israel basically completely dismantled Hezbollah and Iran and really weakened Iran. So they lost their grip, and Assad regime was getting very weak. And the only way you can control that country was by the help of Russia and Iran and Hezbollah. And when they really got weakened, Russia, busy with Ukraine, they're kicking their ass up there. And then Lebanon is not involved anymore. The Assad regime falls down. So it's all thanks to Israel, let's be honest. And now they're blaming that Israel is trying to steal and conquer Syria. And DMZ is demilitarized zone. So create a demilitarized zone. That's the Bedouin land that you see there. The blue joined Druze-Israel corridor, I will even say joined Druze and Christians, all the way to the Kurdish area, leaving the Islamic Emirate of the Levant in the middle there. And the Alawites will get their share. So they're blaming Israel for trying to do that. Now, let me say something about that. If that happened, that's the best thing that can happen. So keep blaming. First of all, Israel's not trying to do that. But if that happened, that is the best thing that happened. I tell you why. Because then all the jihadist killing and all the crimes against humanity will happen only in one place. Islamic Emirate of the Levant. That's where. Only there. People would live in peace in the DMZ. People would live in peace in the Druze mountain in that corridor. You will even have tourism happening there. People live in peace in the area of the Alawites. You'll start having tourism and businesses, agriculture, everything that actually flourish when you have peace and you have good people. Everything that is actually dying and getting destroyed when you're seeing what the Muslims are doing in the Middle East. So anyone who's blaming Israel for doing that, first of all, Israel's not doing that. Second of all, you should be hoping that Israel do that. Do you understand what I'm saying? There is a government that has been run by ISIS and Al-Qaeda. The people in that government fully swore allegiance to ISIS and Al-Qaeda, except for maybe minorities that didn't dare to speak. Many of the terrorists have came to Europe to bring down your culture and society. And the only way to solve it is by actually not letting them massacre and kill people. And that's probably going to be it. But people are blaming Israel for that. That's how ridiculous they have become. And that's, the West have lost its mind completely. This is a map of Sueda, and that's basically where all the forces, we're just putting ISIS flags because I love this picture. You shall not pass, and a Druze warrior standing there with a lot of orcs coming. And the Druze mountain, that's by the way, the Druze spirit. It's a new initiative right now that is coming, which is trying to rally a voice for the Druze. If you don't know them, go follow their page on Instagram. And for anyone who doesn't know, the Druze mountain is one of the borders, one of the main borders. Here, I'll show you. Where's the picture? Druze mountain is one of the main borders that Israel have right now as a buffer zone between them and all these jihadists. You see where the Druze flag basically on the bottom there? That's the area of Sueda. You can see it also, it's written there. So, and then right next to the Israeli border, there's a few more Druze villages. So they're literally being the buffer zone between Israel and these jihadists that were just committing the same crimes that we see in Hamas do, the Palestinians. So the same evil that exists in Palestine exists in Syria. And the Druze are right now standing on the mountain saying, you shall not pass. And they're paying a terrible price. And the West, instead of rallying with them, is going against them. The West, instead of rallying with the Jews, is going against the Jews. It's just insane. Just insane what's happening in the West. Meanwhile, what they like to do, I'll give you the name of the website in a second. Let me go to it, and I'll give you. Someone has been asking about the website. So the name of the website here. Oh, let me look at my phone, and I'll give you the exact name. The name of the website. Getting so many messages. Thank you, Rebecca. She's asking if I can react to something.
History repeats itself. So
let me just 1 second. If anyone doesn't know Rebecca Barsef, go follow her as well. She's doing a great job reporting what's happening. Okay, here's the name of this website. I'll show you right now. SuedaMassacre.com. I'm reading it backwards, right? SuedaMassacre.com. Write it down. If maybe someone can write it down in the comments, go and check it out, guys. SuedaMassacre.com. Okay? That's the website. Now, what the world is talking about right now is very interesting. They're ignoring this. Israel standing with the Druze. What did Bibi Netanyahu, he's writing here, I met this evening in my office in Jerusalem with the religious leader of the Druze community in Israel, Sheikh Muwaffaq Tarif. What did they talk about there? What was going on? It's very hard to know. But it just shows again and again, Israel have said they're committed. They're committed to go and stand with the Druze and protect minorities in the Middle East, and it seems like they're the only one doing that. The rumors are Jordan, Sueda, and Dara will be in charge of security. What do you think? As you can, sorry to say that, you can't trust Jordan. There's many Palestinians there. And Dara is the ones who actually did the attack. So whoever wrote that, he might not know that maybe. But Dara is the Bedouins who started the attack. So you can't really have them in charge of this. If someone can write down the website, like I said, I'll say it again and I'll pin that. So Sueda-massacre.com. Write this down, guys. See it? It's like this. Oh my God, it's 12 o'clock at night. Okay, that is the website. Write it down and I'll tag it so people can actually go and follow that website. We're coming to an end. So whoever has been here so far, thank you so much. So I talked about this map, this ridiculous thing that they're saying that Israel is trying to. Here's interesting. Sorry, I gotta sneeze here. Arab tribes fighting the Druze. Druze are fighting back. Fight and massacre. Arab tribes are doing the massacre. Druze are not doing any massacre. HTS. That's basically the jihadists who run the government. Okay, that's like the official government of Syria right now. They're the one who came to liberate Tahrir al-Sham, to liberate the Sham. So you have IDF, the Israel Defense Force, so they have the HTS, which is, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. That's like the life of liberating Syria. So liberating by bringing it under Sharia law, because they have a different way of seeing what liberation means. They're fighting against the Druze, massacres. Again, Druze are fighting against them. So Druze is fighting against Arab tribes from all over the region, against the government. And HTS is also fighting against Israel. So Israel is the only one helping the Druze. Quite crazy, right? Crazy situation. And the Druze are a minority. What? The Druze literally, guys, are probably one of the smallest religions on planet Earth. I'm not kidding. That's how crazy that is. By the way, we have a new member. Gertz became a YouTube member. Thank you so much, Gertz. Welcome to the club. All right, let's continue. Oh, here's someone. Sueda Massacre here. That's guys. So on another, we're gonna finish right now with something interesting. But before that, here someone wrote it here. Austin DeBuro, thank you so much. Sueda@massacre.com. So when you dot, he means like you actually need to put a dot. Don't write .com. Put the real dot. On a change of subject, just to finish with something else. So the captain of the flight, and I read that, and I read that today. I've seen it in numerous places, so maybe it's wrong, but it seems like the captain of the flight of VY8166 fueling, the one responsible for the call to the Guardia Civil discrimination ground. If you heard that there was an airplane that basically kicked out all the Jews out of the airplane, and the authorities came and started beating them up. Happens to be the instructor who trained Muhammad Atta and Marwan el-Shehni, the two terrorists that hijacked the 9/11 attack. Is that coincidence? I don't know. This isn't going to end well for fueling. So the war, like already before reported about this pilot, why did the two 9/11 hijackers demand to be trained by him? So they demanded to be trained by him. Apparently, that's what the reports are saying. And September 2000, Ivan was working as an instructor at the Jones Aviation Academy in Sarasota, Florida, to earn an income and gain flight hours. It was in his month that he met Muhammad Atta and Marwan al-Shari, who came interested in taking a course, instrument flight. Both were in the hurry to attend and learn the lessons and had habits of paying large sums of money, often in advance. They were offered the two best instructors, an American pilot and the Spanish one. AT responsible was quick. We want the Spanish instructor. They said, we want him. And this is getting more. You'll see the building right here. Okay, let's see what it says. So they were talking to him already, saying, see this building, we're going to crash into it. One time he even asked them. That's other reports that I said. It's like they were not listening when he was teaching them how to land. And he asked them, like, guys, don't you want to know how to land? And they were started laughing. No, we don't need to know that. So that's like how security awareness is lacking in the US is insane by the civilians. I have some questions that I'd like to ask. When did Charlie obtain the US visa? Why did the hijackers request them? Anyway, so just kind of on a different note, something that came to mind today. The same instructor who never thought to contact the FBI when the terrorists showed no interest in learning how to land. Exactly. Only after 9/11 did he comment he thought it was strange. In light of this, I think the FBI are obliged to revisit him. So yeah. Anyway, I kind of lost hope in many of these organizations in the US in general and around the world. That's about that. All right, I'm gonna take some time, guys, to answer some questions. Just a reminder: Sueda.massacre.sueda, that line. I don't know how you say it in English. Massacre.com, and you can go and find this website. We'll explain about the Druze. I'm just gonna try to answer some of the questions here before we go. Thank you so much, Seth. The real X-Spy in the chat. Azerbaijan, Israel, Syria, ACS meeting help the Druze. Not aware of that. HTS is definitely not trying to help the Druze. They're the one who massacred the Druze. Saba David, thank you so much. Micha, your brother, and Scott Nasler as well. What would you suggest Israel do? Invade Syria and rescue them? Choppers. Well, by the way, choppers has been operating already. Fighter drones, fighter jets. I don't recommend for Israel to send troops on the ground. I think Israel have a moral responsibility to also protect its own citizens, and Syria is an enemy country. And as much as I love my Druze brothers and sisters there, I don't think it's needed yet. I think with the Air Force, Israel can do more than enough, and with sending air supplies, dropping airdrops, etc., Israel can do more than enough to go and rescue the Druze and help them to give a fighting chance against, basically the Muslim army. Does Druze religion have any end times prophecy? I said before, I answered that already. It's a yes. Anyone taking Qatari and Saudi UAE oil money will suppress this info. That's so true. So true. Why do you think they pay you money? Not because they like you guys. They consider you as the house of war, Dar al-Harb, America, Europe. They have a definition for you in the Quran. You're considered Dar al-Harb, the house of war. War should be waged on you. They just can't do it because they're too weak. So what they're doing, they're paying you lots of money. Why? Think for yourself. Druze be saved by military force, no negotiation or negotiation. Negotiation might just stop the massacre now for a short time, but the massacre will come back again. The only way to save them was by military force. Any hippie who doesn't like to hear that, that's your problem. Go get a life. Qatar UAE payment to Trump is forcing silence. Seems like it. Stavik, seems like it. Israel should take in Syria Druze, please. Absolutely. 100% agree. In general, any Arab that will get to live under Israel is going to have a much better life. Gurji, become a YouTube member. Welcome to the club, Gurji. William Mansour, have we heard nothing from the Druze? Have we heard nothing from the Druze in Lebanon to support their brothers in Syria, right next door in Syria? Why are those Druze not matching with their weapons to fight? I'll tell you something about the Druze in Lebanon, and they're not going to love to hear that. Many of them are traitors. Many of them are pathetic jihadists who would rather see their families and Druze brothers and sisters slaughtered and massacred in Syria rather than admit that Israel is the only one helping them. They're so fixated in hating Israel and aligned with Iran Muslim Brotherhood that they forgot. They became traitors. Now, not all of them. There is Druze in Lebanon, you know, but they're oppressed. They're suppressed by the Lebanese, by the Jumblat regime, and etc. So it's hard for me to know the numbers. But yes, undoubtedly, the only main voice that is standing for the Druze right now is mostly in Israel, like overwhelmingly in Israel and in the diaspora, but mostly by Syrian Druze that fled there and now are trying to call and fight for their people, but no one is hearing them. Lebanese are being very, very, very shamefully, disgracefully silent. And I'll say that to their face. Shame on you guys. Stig Has became a YouTube member. Stig Has, thank you so much. Cool picture. Looks a little bit like Elon Musk there. Elon Soarsa. God bless for everything you are doing to show people the level of savage Druze are dealing with in Syria. We need more and more people like you in our community. Druze stand tall. Shukran Elon Soarsa. I'm thinking that he might be Druze or Arabs. If not, thank you so much, brother. And hopefully we can bring an end to that, maybe hopefully with the help of pressuring governments. So, someone is saying this. That's cool. So Lebanese Druze are like American Jewish leftists. Yeah, very much. Yeah. It's communism. It's you know the red and the green. So a lot of the leftist American, you know, we call them self-hating Jews. They're basically following communist ideology. They hate the West. They hate America. They hate white people, and they try to, you know, they think Bibi Netanyahu was a devil and Sinwar was a good guy. So, you know, they're weirdos. Not all of them, but there's a lot of them. They're just weirdos. Walid Jumblat. Don't call them. All right. Someone is saying this. A Lebanese Druze here, and that's not accurate at all. Mansour Phoenix, if I misrepresented the Lebanese Druze, and I apologize, but from all I've been hearing about the Lebanese Druze so far, and I'm having in my feed a lot, I'm getting curses from them. They're calling me traitor and all kind of crazy stuff. So if I got this wrong, then I apologize. But from what I'm seeing and hearing, I'm hearing a lot of them that are so filled with hate towards Israel that they're actually criticizing the only country in the world that's trying to help the Jews. Physically, I mean, can you explain? Can you say more help the Druze than an F-16 and an Apache pilot and drones going and shooting loads of jihadists in Syria that are coming to kill the Druze? Can someone explain more help than that? So if anyone comes and starts criticizing Israel, my Israel, on the expense of the only one that is trying to save his brothers and sisters, then shame on him, go home. And if that's not the case in Lebanon, then why is Walid Jumblat talking all the time, talking, and just shouting about how Israel is bad, and I'm seeing all kind of Druze in Lebanon going around saying, no, Israel should not get involved, we don't need their help. Seriously? Talk to the people in Sueda. Talk to them. How thankful they are that Israel helped them. So I'm not saying that you are Phoenix, but I'm just kind of giving that. So Phoenix is saying here we are at the same situation as Syria, just fire waiting to be ignited. And here, yes. So what I said in the beginning, and I'll say that again, not all the Druze in Lebanon, and I don't know the numbers, but I know that the ruling voice of the Druze there is oppressing the Druze themselves, and that's what Jumblat and his guys, and is oppressing or feeding them with hate towards Israel. I've met so many that just, you know, full of like, you know, hatred. Now the ones there, undoubtedly the Druze in Lebanon, if Lebanon does not become Christian, they will face what we're seeing in Syria, undoubtedly. Any minority living under Salafi Muslims will face that. So again, Phoenix, if I am wrong about this, I apologize, and I'll be more than happy to be corrected, but I'm just not going to be corrected just because someone doesn't like what I said. It needs to be something with substance that will help me see that, and I'm not seeing enough voice from the Druze in Lebanon. Do the Druze in Syria have a direct connection with Israeli government, the IDF? It's not as possible to simulate. I don't know. It is important for me to also add to Phoenix that I will always love all the Druze, including the Druze in Syria right now, and including the ones that have completely lost their minds. And I would pray and hope that they will wake up, and I will admire Druze in Syria that stand strong and tall and do not succumb to Sharia law and adapt Western values and Druze values. By the way, they go along very well together. You'd be surprised. A religion that goes along very well with Western values. We're doing our best to behavior, but we are under crazy financial and geopolitical situations. Yes, yeah, I agree. Go follow Khalifa. Anyone who doesn't know him, great guys. Nah, man, I love you more, Phoenix. Love you more, brother. Brother from another mother. I mean, we might be relatives. I'm not joking. And I'm gonna finish with that, guys. Israel. No, that's not what I wanted to say. I forgot what I wanted to say. The Druze are 1 million people all around the world, give or take. Meaning that what's happening in Syria right now is affecting every Druze around the world. There's probably not a single Druze that doesn't have a relative or someone he knows or a friend of the family that has been right now in Sueda and is concerned and worried for him. Remember October 7th to the Jews? So there's about 15 million Jews around the world. There's 1 million Druze around the world. And most of them are living in Sueda. So if you have Druze friends, remember how the Jews felt alone when October 7th happened and like no one cared. The Druze are feeling even more alone right now. So it's important to go and remind your Druze friends, give them a call, ask for them. And also don't be politically correct, wimp. Say the truth as it is. Talk to them, give them a hug, tell them that we're with you. Tell them we're not going to let wickedness, radical Islam eradicate you. Tell them we're not going to let these bastards walk and rejoice in the street while they're trying to tarnish your name. You have no idea how important it is. I can't express how thankful I am for my Jewish friends and my Christian friends who keep sending me all the time and showing concern. And I don't have time to answer all of them, and I apologize for that. I'm so busy that I don't have, but it's so important. And I just remember how it was important for the Jews to know that there were Arabs standing beside them, the Druze standing beside them, Christians standing beside them. Same thing for the Druze, even more because mainstream media is not talking about it at all. So if you have Druze friends, go and show them that. Doesn't matter where they are from. All right, I'm gonna finish for today. It's been the update for today. I'm gonna try to do this every day to give you some kind of an update what's happening. I was supposed to have a very interesting guest today, a female Druze, very knowledgeable reporter that have very, very interesting things to share. But I think she's just too exhausted and emotionally tired and she couldn't come, so I came alone. But I will try to see if I can bring her tomorrow, and if not, try to bring you other voices. Tomorrow, me and Khalifa are having very interesting podcasts. One with Anan Wahebe, who someone who's very high in the Israeli defense systems, highly educated professor. He knows very well. He probably knows almost the best, I would say. Yes, hand on my heart. He's probably one of the most knowledgeable people right now in the world about what's happening in Syria. And we're gonna do it in English. So if anyone want to hear, that's gonna be tomorrow. I will share it on my Instagram, what time exactly. And then followed by that, almost back to back, we're gonna talk with another Druze person in Israel from the Tarif family. That's like the main religious large family in Israel. And he is the one that running some of the centers of what's happening between Israel and Syria. So we're gonna try to have his voice. That's one is gonna be in Hebrew. It's called the Shishi Druzi. Right? Tomorrow is Friday. What day is tomorrow? Oh, it's already now Friday. So Yeah, need to go to sleep. So today or tomorrow, there's going to be a Shishi, Druze Friday, as me and Khalifa always do, and that's always in Hebrew. But we're going to give you also an episode in English. And later on, if people come, sometimes you will come to the Hebrew just to show presence and to help the algorithm. By the way, thank you so much for everyone who's doing that. And also thank you so much for anyone who's watching these videos. I'm terrible at that. People keep telling me that I need to do that. And I always do it at the end of my show also, if I ever do that. So if you watch until now, if you want to help this channel, do the like, click, share, shebang, leave a comment, everything. And if you want to help the work that I'm doing, and not only me, by the way, every Druze activist that is working right now out there, there's different ways. In my case, there's Patreon. That's the most practical way, where you can go and subscribe to my Patreon, and you can choose either from $3 to $5 to $10 to $100 to $500. I made it as a joke. I made a tier that is called 500 as a joke, and people took it. I was like, what? That was a very good joke. So anyone who want to help my cause and what I'm doing can go and check it out. But also with Khalifa and with many other Druze, Rania is working right now with me relentlessly on opening. There's already a foundation where we can start collecting money to help the Druze, but we're trying to link it with a GoFundMe and also to create the board. It's not my foundation, but I will be part of the overseeing board for transparency to make sure that everything there is done kosher and legal. So we're still working on that to make it. So I'm not gonna advertise anything until I know it's kosher. Tal Oran, I talk to him all the time, guys, all the time. He's one of my dearest friends, on the YouTube world. So anyway, yeah. So thank you so much, guys. Stay safe. Thanks for sticking around, and see you tomorrow.